March along, sing a song with the army of the free. Count the brave, count the true, who have fought to victory. We're the army and proud of our name. We're the army and proudly proclaim. First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might, and the army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won, and the army goes rolling along. And it's high, high, hey, the army's on its way. Count off the cages loud and strong. For wherever we go, you will always know that the army goes rolling along. First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might, and the army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won, and the army goes rolling along. And it's high, high, hey, the army's on its way. Count off the days on its run. For wherever we go, you will always know that the army goes rolling along.
All right, so we wanted to update you on Hurricane Michael. It's about 40 miles off the coast. It's starting to feel the effects now. It is a very dangerous Category 4. And just to remind the press, Hurricanes Harvey, Irma, and Maria were Cat 4s. So these are big storms that we're looking at. So it'll hit the Panhandle, as you can see in this one right here, sir, and then it will go through Georgia and the Carolinas. Unfortunately, on the tail end, we do expect additional rain in the Carolinas, which could lead to additional flooding. FEMA is leaning forward, as we are with our interagency partners. We're forward deployed. We have search and rescue ready to go. We're in very close contact with state and local authorities. We've all spoken with the governor and local officials. And I'll turn it over to Brock to give additional detail.
Unfortunately, this is a Gulf Coast hurricane of the worst kind because all of the elements associated with hurricanes come into play. So as you see on the left, the storm surge estimates are anywhere between 9 and 14 feet. Storm surge is going to be the worst where the eye makes landfall, just to the east or south of where the eye makes landfall. Somewhere right now it's projected between Panama City, Apalachicola, and then it's going to push forward. So not only is it going to bring 14 feet of ocean water and coastal flood inundation, there'll be wave action on top of that, which is the primary driver of why we evacuate, sir. And then coupled with that, you've got over 145 mile per hour winds. Structures built before 2001 are not designed to handle that type of wind typically. And it's going to unfortunately push through the state. So we're asking citizens in southwest Georgia, central Georgia to be vigilant and make sure that they understand what's about to come, because this area is going to see a Cat 1, Cat 2 storm as it moves inland. And with the vegetation there, what we're anticipating is a lot of downed trees impacting the power grid. And here again, we're going to see a lot of devastation along the coast structurally, and then as it moves in, you're going to see power outages throughout the state. And then unfortunately, you're going to see rainfall into South Carolina and North Carolina. The Cape Fear was projected to start receding from Hurricane Florence 2 days ago, and this will basically exacerbate the problem and add to it a little bit to where it's going to keep those waters from receding a little bit as it exits the state by Friday.
So they're reporting that this is one of the most powerful hurricanes ever to hit our country. Is that actually a fact?
So in this area, this would be the most intense hurricane that struck this area since 1851, if I remember correctly. So this would be it. Yeah. Intense, very intense. But
and this one is going to be heavy rain, or is it going to be the winds that are going to be the problem?
Storm surge and winds, and then for Georgia, they're going to see high inland winds. So you may see sustained Category 1, Category 2 winds with higher gusts that are associated. So We're expecting a lot of damage inland as well. But we have leaned forward with Governor Scott and his staff and Director Westmall down in Florida. They've been leaning forward as well. And right now there's no identified shortfalls when it comes to pre-positioning. So we have teams, equipment, personnel, not only with and embedded with state of Florida staff and some of the local county emergency managers, but we have equipment and teams staged in Maxwell to Atlanta to Orlando, ready to move in once the elements subside and push through, and then we can move in and attack.
And we're working
the
really
areas hardest
closely
hit.
with the private sector. So we have about 14 states, different utilities from 14 states
they're
are
very well
already ready
lined
to help with any energy outages.
Electric companies are from all over the country, actually. They're all lined up. As soon as it goes by, they're going to be working. And we've got food supplies, food chains. We're working with all of the states. And let me ask you, this started out very innocently a week ago. This was a small storm in an area they never thought this, and it grew into a monster.
Right, so the first initial indications from the National Hurricane Center started coming in around Saturday. And they picked it up and started raising the flag that, hey, this system's going to go from a wave to a depression and could potentially rapidly intensify. And unfortunately, that's typical of the Gulf Coast. And when they do this, citizens have less time to prepare or heed the warnings. We are concerned that many citizens chose not to heed those warnings, but we're prepared with search and rescue teams to try to go in and do what we can.
Any questions, please?
Yes, are you concerned that folks in Florida and Georgia in the storms weren't heard enough? And that there aren't enough evacuations to follow up on that point?
Yesterday, we were concerned that we did not like the level of evacuation activity that we were seeing. And, Governor Scott, kudos to him. He leaned forward, used the new wireless emergency alert capabilities that we have, and sent out text messaging last night, leaned forward and said, hey, get out of there. And so we were trying to get people to really take the storm seriously. A lot of people did heed the warning, but then there are those who chose to stay behind. And unfortunately, first responders may not be able to go in and rescue those who dial 911 at this point.
Mr. President, can you give us a sense of the officials you've been in contact with and spoken to the governor?
I have, and the other governors, depending on what happens here, but they are all either contacted or are in the process. I had a long talk with Rick Scott, Governor Scott of Florida. Very well coordinated with all of the states. And, one of the things that must be said is it's not so easy for some of these people to leave. Some of the areas are very poor. It's not easy for a person without the necessary money to leave. So what we've done is we've sent buses, we've sent a lot of different, we're doing a lot of different things to try and remove people from the area, but a lot of people are very poor in certain of those areas, and it's very tough for them to leave. That's one of the problems you're finding, I guess.
Yeah, in some cases, what we ask to do on Blue Sky Days is ask people who may not have the means or the mechanisms to get out of town to register with their local emergency management agencies, and Florida's been pretty robust in doing that so that we have some idea of how to pre-plan for that. And then, we do what we can to be able to support the movement of people. When it comes to Georgia, we're not evacuating for storm surge in Georgia. This is going to be high winds, so we're asking people to get within a facility that can withstand the winds and try to shelter in place or seek out public shelters that may be open in Southwest Georgia.
But if you look at the size, how long it is, take a look at that. And the red area basically is the area where it's going to hit pretty heavily. And that's a lot of shore. It's a lot of land.
It'll be 4 feet in storm surge all the way down to Tampa Bay, which is very low lying and floods very easily. But to give you that idea of the breadth of its path, it is quite large.
It's almost the entire size of the Gulf. When you look at it topically, it's almost the entire size of the Gulf. And they haven't seen that. Maybe they haven't seen that at all. Nobody's seen that before.
The eye diameter is pretty wide, which unfortunately is not good news as it makes landfall. So some people may say it's similar to an EF3 tornado making landfall in areas that are close to the eye. So it's
Did last year's hurricane in the area impair the infrastructure or weaken it in any way that they would struggle to deal with this year's hurricane?
not in this area. Irma did not really heavily impact the Florida Panhandle. Most of the hit from Irma was in the southwest portion of Florida, and then moved up through and created some issues in the Jacksonville area, northeastern portion. But this area, it's been a long time since it's been hit, so the vegetation hasn't been stressed, and we're going to see, a lot of damage and devastation, unfortunately. And we have to set the citizens' expectations that the power is going to be out for a while. And what FEMA's role in that is, as the Secretary was saying, our partnership with the private sector is that, we work with the Florida Power and Lights, the Gulf Powers, the Southern companies, the Georgia Powers, to be able to help them, facilitate their mutual aid to come in. And they've got power crews coming in from multiple states across the country that are already pre-staged. And when we're hit, we work with them to do what's called first push debris to get the roadways open and so that we can get them down the roadways to start fixing the power. But that's going to take some time.
Mr. President, do you plan on changing any of your travel schedule right now?
Well, we don't know. I know I was going to Pennsylvania. It looks like there are thousands of people already lined up, and probably will do that tonight. And we're going to go down here as soon as we can. We don't want to interfere with anybody, but we want to go as soon as possible. You have, right nearby, we have thousands of people going tonight, and many are there already. What time were you going to be there? What time were we planning on that?
The rally night is scheduled at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, it's about 7.
You're going to go ahead?
Well, I don't know what to do because you have so many people already there, and it's sort of unfair to them. So it's a mix. I'll be totally focused on this, but we're going to make a determination over the next little while. But you have people that.
Does it make it more difficult for you to pay attention to the storms you're doing?
No, because I have great people, including these two, but I have great people. It wouldn't make any difference in that sense, but I would like to be seeing what's going on. We want to get down there as soon as possible. At the same time, I don't want to go down where we're interfering with the people, first responders, the FEMA people. I want them to focus on the storm, not me. So we'll probably look to Sunday or Monday to go down and meet with the governors, meet with everybody, and do what we have to do, like we did in North Carolina, South Carolina, where that worked out really well. Now, they're going to get hit also. I mean, North Carolina and South Carolina are going to get a lot of water. Nothing like they had 2 weeks ago, but they're going to get a lot of water also. And that water is still draining out. So this is a pretty big problem. I really worry a little bit about South Carolina and North Carolina from the standpoint they're already saturated, and they're going to get a reasonable hit, right?
Right. Yeah, they will. So you're going to see as much as possibly 8 inches in isolated areas through South Carolina and North Carolina. And as I said, it's all about the rivers being able to process the water from Florence, and some of them haven't had the time to do that, so this doesn't help.
President Trump, should Saudi Arabia release the journalist Raif Badawi?
I will have to take a look at it exactly. When you say release the journalist, who are you talking about?
They have imprisoned a journalist named Raif Badawi, and they said
That I'd have to look
lashing.
into. I'm not familiar with
Can I
that.
ask you about Jamal Khashoggi?
Yes.
Are you concerned that he's dead, and do you hold the Saudi government responsible?
I would be certainly concerned. In fact, we have a call-in to his wife. His wife wrote us a letter and addressed it to my wife and myself. And we're in contact with her now, and we want to bring her to the White House. It's a very sad situation. It's a very bad situation, and we want to get to the bottom of it.
Do you think he's dead?
I don't want to say that. I hope he's not. I hope
Would you
he's
hold
not.
the Saudi government responsible?
Well, I have to find out who did it, but people saw him go in, but they didn't see him come out, as they understand it, and we're going to take a very serious look at it. It's a terrible thing.
Have you spoken to the Saudis?
I'd rather not say, but the answer is yes.
Can you give us a sense of when his wife, fiance might be coming to
I would say fairly quickly. They're in touch. You may just speak to the First Lady's folks because they're in touch, and she'll be most likely coming to the White House. We'll work on it together. It's a terrible
Lindsey
thing.
Graham says there will be help to pay if the Saudis are in fact responsible. Do you share that view?
Well, Lindsey can speak for himself, but this is a bad situation. We cannot let this happen. to reporters, to anybody. We can't let this happen. And we're going to get to the bottom of it, okay? But you may want to speak to the First Lady's office about the I'd rather not say, but at a very high level, the highest level. Let me say this, it's the highest level, okay? Yeah,
You mentioned that you talked to
more than,
King
and
Sal-
more than once.
You had mentioned that you
Spoke to the King Salman, so, I mean, the
Well, I
highest
do
level.
anyway, and I've always found him to be a fine man. We've had a very good relationship. I'm not happy about this. We have to see what happens, you know. We have to see what happens. Nobody knows what happened yet. They don't know over there, but it's a very serious situation, and it's something we're taking very seriously, okay?
Mr. President, several countries like India and China are planning to buy oil from Iran even after 2004. What is the message to those countries?
We'll take care of that. We'll take care of that. Yeah.
There's a report out of Seoul today that the South Korean government is considering lifting some sanctions against the South Korean government is considering.
Well, they won't do it without our approval. They do nothing without our approval.
Have they been contacted?
Yes, they do nothing without our approval.
President Trump, when do you intend to release more people like Alice Johnson?
We'll talk to you about that later.
Are you going to
Any closer to picking a replacement
And
for-
by the way, when we get Alice Johnson, such a great person, it's such a great case, I'd like to find a lot of people like Alice Johnson, and there are a lot of people that are in a situation like that, and we are actively looking for those situations. She's a terrific woman. I've been watching her a lot, and what a great spokesman she is for that situation, and that's covering a lot of people. There are a lot of people like that will unfortunately be locked up for many, many years, and there's no reason for it. So we are looking for, we are actively looking for other situations exactly like that.
Mr. President, any closer?
No, but she's somebody we're talking to. We like Dina. Dina did great here. She then went back into the private sector for a while, but she always wanted to come back. She loves this administration. So we're certainly looking at Dina, and we're looking at others. There's some tremendously talented people. Nikki's going to be here till the end of the year. Nikki's our friend. She's been great. I want whoever it is to spend some time with Nikki before Nikki goes out and gets herself a job, and hopefully she's going to make a lot of money. And I think Nikki will come back in some form too, but she's an extraordinary person, good person. And but we're looking at many people. Many people want that job.
Mr.
What's your
President, are you
vetting process?
concerned about the fact that she announced her departure before the midterms?
But no, there's no good time. I mean, there really is no good time. She told me about this a long time ago, and frankly, it's almost 4 weeks, so it's not that bad. No, I don't think so at all. I thought it was very elegantly done. If she waited till after, then they'd say, oh, if we win, they'd say, why is she doing it? And if we lose, they'd say, oh, well, that's obvious why she's doing it. Okay, so there's really no good time to do it. But she and I had spoken at least 6 months ago. Maybe even a year ago we had conversations. She wanted to be here about 2 years. And I think the point really was last week at the United Nations. She wanted to get through that and then go probably into the private sector for a while. And I'm sure she's going to come back into government because she's a terrific person.
What's the vetting process like, Mr. President? What are you looking for?
Very
in
strong
your next-
vetting, but some of the
your next
people we already have
president?
vetted. Some of the people are with us. We're looking at people that are already with us. And we have some incredible talent in this administration. We have some great, great talent, and they've already been vetted. They're already approved. Any other questions on this?
One more question. Last week, India signed an agreement with Russia to purchase S-400 missiles.
Yeah, I know they did.
$5.4 billion.
Yeah.
Would CAATSA sanctions apply to India, or are you planning to give them a
India's going to find out, aren't they?
Are you planning to give them a waiver?
India will find out.
When?
You'll see. Sooner than you think.
I do have another question on this.
Yeah.
You talked a lot about the size and the scope of it. Can you help us understand just how big it's going to be? Florence was a historic storm. It's going to be bigger than Florence. How should we think about the size and magnitude?
Oh, for this area, the Florida Panhandle, it's going to be historic. I mean, this is the worst hit that they've had in recent history. And you've only it's Cat 4 going in. What else can?
Very
what
rare
else
do you
can we
see a
say?
4.
That's about
And these
150
winds
miles
are-
per hour right
yeah,
now. I mean,
well,
this is
yeah.
a very
and much
serious
more in
storm.
certain areas.
How many people are
Many. We have poor people. It's very sad, and they are unable, more than we would like. And, you know, you have people that are stuck. They're just stuck there. We're moving a lot of people out. But you have some people that don't want to go out. They own a home, and they just don't want to go out, and you can't force them to go out. But these are great people that I love this area. There's something about the people in the area, and they will be okay. They are strong, smart, wonderful people. But you have certain sections where really you have pretty extreme poverty. You don't have money. And it's very hard for those people. But we're moving a lot out.
Do you have a message for those who are in storms impacted?
I say, God bless you all. That's my message, because that's what it is. The storm is there. I mean, that storm is there. It's sort of too late to do anything about it now from the standpoint of moving. Tell us about that. If somebody said they're watching us now and they want to leave, it's
The window to evacuate has come to a close. I mean, once, in some cases on these barrier islands, they have to shut down drawbridges at certain sustained winds. And quite honestly, the ocean has already started rising in some of those areas where we're anticipating the storm surge. And as I said earlier, the most important thing is that you're in an area and you can't get out of that area, try to get elevated and try to get to a facility that you think can withstand the winds.
Is there anything that you're doing for this storm differently than you did for Hurricanes Maria or any of the other past hurricanes?
You know what? We're putting the full force of the federal government, the firepower of the federal government down and pre-staging to be able to help our state partners. We don't treat.
But I do think we're trying to move people more here because of the winds. We're worried about the houses. You know, these houses weren't built for 180 mile an hour winds. You have wind gusts up to 185, they say. That's as bad as pretty much as bad as it can get. And these houses aren't built for that kind of destruction. So I think more than anything else, we're trying to move more people out than we've ever before.
I think what was different was Governor Scott leaning forward and using the wireless emergency alert. I think that's the first time that it's actually been used in this platform, to my knowledge, and just trying to hammer home the point.
That was a great way to communicate with those barrier islands you see using that alert system.
A lot of folks, I think, woke up and they were surprised when they saw Category 4. Were state and local officials or was the federal government in any way caught off guard by the strength of this?
FEMA was not by any means, and neither was the state of Florida. The bottom line is that anytime we're dealing with a Gulf Coast storm, we always plan for one category, possibly two higher, because we understand that trying to forecast the intensity of these storms is very difficult for the National Hurricane Center to do. So therefore, we always plan one or two categories higher than what's actually forecast days in advance, because we know that the window to actually move people into position and get ready shuts pretty quickly in Gulf Coast storms because of the
This is why we have
distance.
National Hurricane Season, right? I mean, the whole season, we encourage everybody to be prepared, have your kits, know how you'll communicate with your family, know your evacuation route, because sometimes the increased intensity so quickly, if you're thinking about it then for the first time, you're not going to be safe. So that's why we have the season. During that whole season, you should be prepared for hurricanes.
Well, this was projected to be a storm 3 days ago, not a hurricane. And it grew as rapidly as anything they've ever seen. That's the problem. And we're very, very prepared. We have massive amounts of food and water that gets brought in immediately as it's leaving. I mean, literally, we follow it right in. And the electrical folks and, the different electrical companies, they have thousands, they're going to have over 10,000 people, and they're literally waiting, and they go and follow it in. They have to clear out the streets, but they literally follow it right in. So.
All right, folks, welcome. My name is Jen. I'm from Golden State Times. I am the host of the stream. We're just awaiting the footage from inside the venue where President Trump is going to have his rally. You're going to see a screen that says live stream starting soon. I just want to make sure that everything is running correctly in the way that it's supposed to. That way you guys can get the best experience. Like always, we try to do our best here, folks, at Golden State Times, making sure that the streams are good, making sure that everything is running smoothly, so that way you guys have the best experience live here at Golden State Times. So give me a minute while I figure everything out and we make sure that we have everything ready to go. And then I'll be putting the footage of the rally on your screen, and we'll go on from there. Thank you so much.
Let us pray. God of all mercy, we ask for both your presence and your peace for all those gathered here this day. We give you thanks for this celebration, for this redemption, for this day to reflect on what you provide and what we need, for reminding us of the dignity of life, of service, of sacrifice, and of true heroism. Inspire us, Lord, to hold fiercely to your gifts of hope and grace and passion. May the heroic acts of Staff Sergeant Ronald Scherer move us all to greater acts of goodness, of love, to serve our soldiers, our families, our nation, and our world. For it is before you that we humbly ask these things and gratefully say, Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. Please. And thank you, Chaplain Hurley. Thank you to Vice President Mike Pence for joining us for today's ceremony. Today, it's my privilege to award the Congressional Medal of Honor to an Army Special Forces medic who now serves in the United States Secret Service. Please join me in welcoming Staff Sergeant Ronald Scherer. Ronald, thank you.
I forgot to mention one thing, folks. If you guys share the live stream on social media and you guys also smack the like button, we're going to give you guys a quick shout out. So if you have Twitter, make sure to share this live stream on Twitter and also follow us on there. And then if you have gab.ai, make sure you also share the live stream on that platform and you follow us, and we'll give you guys a shout out over the microphone. Thank you so much to everyone that already shared the live stream. I'll go on the chat and see if there was any shout outs that we need to give in a minute. If we missed, let's say if you contributed to the channel through Super Chat and we didn't get it, then I'll check back and then I'll say thank you. So thank you very much in advance.
Thank you. I wish I was that popular, I'll tell you. Today is a truly proud and special day for those of us here in the White House because Ron works right here alongside of us on the Secret Service counter-assault team. These are incredible people. Several weeks ago, my staff asked Ron and his wife, Miranda, thank you, Miranda, to a meeting in the West Wing. They didn't know what it was about. They walked into the Oval Office, and I told Ron that he was going to receive our nation's highest military honor. It was a moment I will never forget. Ron and Miranda joined today by their two beautiful sons, Cameron, who was 10, and Tyler, who was 7. Stand up. Look at these guys. Cameron, Tyler, we stand in awe of your father's courage. We really do. Today he joins the world's most elite gathering of heroes. Also with us are his parents, Ronald Sr. and his mom, Fabiola, both Air Force veterans. America is grateful for your service. Thank you very much. Please stand. Thank you. I want to thank also Secretary Nielsen for joining us. Secretary, thank you very much. Along with Secretary of the Army, Mark Esper. Mark, thank you very much. Vice Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Paul Selva. Thank you, Paul. Army Chief of Staff, General Mark Milley. Mark, thank you. Commander of Special Operations, Command General Raymond Thomas. Thank you, Raymond. And Sergeant Major of the Army, Daniel Daly. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Daniel. I also want to recognize Representative Gerald Connolly and Representative Dan Newhouse. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it. We are privileged to have among us 5 former recipients of the Congressional Medal of Honor: Benny Atkins, Harvey Barnum, Gary Bykirk, Florent Groberg, and Brian Thacker. And thank you all for being here. Thank you. Please stand up. Thank you very much for being with us. These are very brave, great people. Staff Sergeant Ron Scher was born in Fairbanks, Alaska. He grew up in a military family, moving to 4 states before middle school. He graduated from Washington State University and applied to join the military, but was rejected due to a medical condition. I can't believe they rejected you. Well, that was a bad mistake, but they made up for it, right? They made up for it. Soon after, America was attacked on September 11th, 2001. Determined to serve, Ron reapplied to the military and was accepted into the United States Army. He became a medic, and then he completed the grueling training to join the legendary ranks of the Green Berets. That's a long way from not getting accepted the first time, right? That's fantastic. That's a great story. It was during his Special Forces training that Ron met Miranda. Just before Ron's first deployment, they were married. Miranda was 6 months pregnant with their first son, Cameron, when Ron deployed to Afghanistan for the second time. Just a month before he returned home, Ron was called on a special operations mission. The aim was to hunt down a deadly terrorist, a leader in that world. He was in a remote mountain village, very dangerous territory. On April 6, 2008, Ron was among the few dozen Special Forces soldiers and 100 Afghan commandos who dropped off by helicopter into Shock Valley, a rocky, barren valley far away from reinforcements. There's nobody close. Ron was the only medic for the team. While he was still near the base of the mountain, the first team began to scale the cliff toward the village. As they approached the top, roughly 200 well-trained and well-armed terrorists ambushed the American and Afghan forces. Soon Ron heard his comrade call his name. Ryan Whelan had been struck by shrapnel at the base of the mountain. He was very, very seriously hurt, but Ron braved enemy fire to rush to his friend and to treat his wounds. Then he heard over the radio that American fighters near the top of the cliff were pinned down and some were critically injured. There was blood all over the place. It was a tough, tough situation to be in. Immediately, Ron climbed the Rocky Mountain, all the while fighting back against the enemy and dodging gunfire left and right. Rockets were shot at him. Everything was shot at him. When he reached the top, one of his close friends, an Afghan interpreter, was already dead. 2 Americans had been shot, Dylan Bear and Luis Morales. He treated them both to stabilize them and their condition. Ron threw his body on top of Dylan to protect him from shrapnel. It was there on that cliff that Ron realized, and I guess he felt pretty much like that was it, right, Ron? But Ron realized that this was probably the end, might be all over. And as he recounts, I just said a prayer and asked that my wife and son would be okay with what was going to happen. Then I just went back to work. One of his teammates, John Walding, was trying to protect the injured when he was shot, almost severing his leg entirely. As Ron was still rendering life-saving aid to Dylan, he directed another soldier to help stem the bleeding. Then a bullet cut through Master Sergeant Scott Ford's arm and struck Ron's helmet. Ron said it felt like he had been hit on the head with a baseball bat. But he got up and, in pretty bad shape, bandaged Scott's arm. Soon Ron and his comrades used nylon webbing to lower the most critically injured down the sides of this really dangerous and very steep cliff. When he reached the base of the mountain, Ron raced to each patient, giving them life-saving care. They were bleeding profusely, and preparing them to be evacuated by helicopter. But Ron was not done yet. He charged back to the mountain, all the way up, and then rejoined the fight. For more than 6 hours, Ron bravely faced down the enemy. Not a single American died in that brutal battle, thanks in great measure to Ron's heroic actions. Many of the warriors who fought in Shock Valley are here today. When I read your name, will you please stand? Staff Sergeant Dylan Bear. Stand up. Stay up, please. Specialist Mike Carter. Thank you, Scott. Thank you. Master Sergeant Scott Ford. Sergeant First Class Seth Howard. Staff Sergeant Luis Morales. Sergeant Major Dan Plants. Lieutenant Colonel Kyle Walton. Sergeant First Class Matt Williams. Sergeant First Class Carl Wurzbach. And two wonderful Afghan translators, Baruz Mohammed and Zia Ghaffori. Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. He did a good job. Did he do a good job? Better say yes now, otherwise it's too late. We can always change our mind. He did a good job. Thank you all for your noble service and for being here to celebrate Ron's historic achievement. It truly is that. As many of you know, a year and a half ago, Ron was diagnosed with cancer. Tough cancer, rough cancer. But he's braved, battled, worked. He's done everything he can. That cancer, he's been fighting it every single day with courage and with strength. And he's a warrior. He's a warrior. And just like he faced every single battle of his entire life, he's facing a very tough battle right now with cancer. But I will tell you, he's the best dad and role model two boys could ever ask for. Right? Do you agree with that? Yeah, you better say yes. I already asked them that question. They needed no prodding. I said, is he a good father or a great father? They said, great father, right? That's good. The best father ever. Wow. That's great. Beautiful, beautiful boys. And Ron, I just want to say as an inspiration to everyone in this room and to every citizen all across our great land, Ron, our hearts are filled with gratitude and joy as we prepare to engrave your name alongside of America's greatest heroes. It is my honor and privilege, along with Mike and all of these incredible warriors in front of me, to present you with the Congressional Medal of Honor. I would like to ask the military aide to come forward and read the citation, please. Thank you.
The President of the United States of America, authorized by Act of Congress, March 3, 1863, has awarded in the name of Congress the Medal of Honor to Staff Sergeant Ronald J. Scher, II, United States Army, for conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity at the risk of his life above and beyond the call of duty. Staff Sergeant Ronald J. Scher, II, distinguished himself by acts of gallantry and intrepidity above and beyond the call of duty on April 6, 2008, while serving as a senior medical sergeant, Special Forces Operational Detachment Alpha 3336, Special Operations Task Force 33, in support of Operation Enduring Freedom. Staff Sergeant Scher was part of an assault element inserted by helicopter into a location in Afghanistan. As the assault element moved up a near vertical mountain toward its objective, it was engaged by fierce enemy machine gun, sniper, and rocket-propelled grenade fire. The lead portion of the assault element, which included the ground commander, sustained several casualties and became pinned down on the mountainside. Staff Sergeant Scher and the rest of the trailing portion of the assault element were likewise engaged by enemy machine gun, sniper, and rocket-propelled grenade fire. As the attack intensified, he braved enemy fire to move to an injured soldier and treat his wounds. Having stabilized the soldier, he then learned of the casualties among the lead element. Staff Sergeant Scher fought his way up the mountainside under intense enemy fire to the lead element's location. Upon reaching the lead element, he treated and stabilized 2 more soldiers. Finishing those life-saving efforts, he noticed 2 additional severely wounded soldiers under intense enemy fire. The bullet that had wounded one of these soldiers had also impacted Staff Sergeant Scher's helmet. With complete disregard for his own life, Staff Sergeant Scher again moved through enemy fire to treat and stabilize one soldier's severely wounded arm. Shortly thereafter, he continued to brave withering enemy fire to get to the other soldier's location in order to treat his lower leg, which had been almost completely severed by a high-caliber sniper round. After treating the soldier, Staff Sergeant Schur began to evacuate the wounded, carrying and lowering them down the sheer mountainside. While moving down the mountain, he used his own body to shield the wounded from enemy fire and debris caused by danger-close airstrikes. Reaching the base of the mountain, Staff Sergeant Schur set up a casualty collection point and continued to treat the wounded. With the arrival of the medical evacuation helicopter, Staff Sergeant Schur, again under enemy fire, helped load the wounded into the helicopter. Having ensured the safety of the wounded, he then regained control of his commando squad and rejoined the fight. He continued to lead his troops and in place security elements until it was time to remove the evacuation landing zone for the helicopter. Staff Sergeant Schur's actions are in keeping with the finest traditions of military service and reflect great credit upon himself, Combined Joint Special Operations Task Force Afghanistan, Special Operations Command Central, and the United
President
States
Trump
Army.
held a campaign.
All right, folks, so I apologize that it's taking extremely long, but as you guys know, there's a lot of stuff that is going on. There's a lot of wind and problems with networks and stuff like that, so we're still trying. There's nothing else I can say other than we're still trying, but it's scheduled to start in a little while, so make sure you guys stay tuned live here at Golden State Times. Don't go anywhere. And as we await for the footage, which should have come hours ago, but I have no idea what's going on. Thank you so much.
March along, sing a song with the army of the free. Count the brave, count the true, who have fought to victory. We're the army and proud of our name. We're the army and proudly proclaim. First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might. And the army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won. And the army goes rolling along. And it's high, high, hey, the army's on its way. Count off the cadence loud and strong. For wherever we go, you will always know that the army goes rolling along. First to fight for the right and to build
All right, folks, so finally, took forever, but it should be coming up on your screen right now. And again, I apologize, but maybe we need to start firing some people. Thank you.
the games on its own. For wherever we go, you will always know that the army goes rolling along.
All right, folks, so we're going to be giving some shout outs. If you guys share the live stream on social media, if you share it on Twitter, if you share it on gab.ai, we're going to give you guys a quick shout out. There's a bunch of patriots that are sharing other live streams, but we're going to try to find our live stream, see if anybody is sharing it out there. It looks like we don't have any at all that I see. Maybe I have to go really, really towards the bottom here. So if you guys can please share the live stream, that would be amazing. Again, I apologize for taking so long to get this, but we're trying our best here. Nope. I'm going at the lowest I possibly can, but I don't see anything. All right, so well, here we go. We have one, which is Ricardo Bobby. Thank you so much, Ricardo, for your being the only one that shared it on live stream. But yeah, so if you guys share the live stream, I'll give you guys a quick shout out on microphone. Thank you. All right, so we have a few more patriots that share the live stream. We got Jerry, and that's it. Thank you very much, Jerry. If you just joined us, welcome. Please share the live stream on social media. That's the only way that we can get help, folks. It's the only way the channel can ever survive is by sharing the live stream on social media, sharing our videos on social media. It doesn't matter how many followers you have. It still comes up in the search. So if you guys can please share the live stream on social media. And also, if you guys are part of groups on Facebook, on Twitter, on Gab, on Reddit, on any of those other social networks, if you guys are part of groups, make sure you guys share them on the groups you're part of. That helps out the channel so much. And we're very thankful here at Golden State Times. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mark, for sharing the live stream on social media. Also, Mark is the only one other than Jerry that shared the live stream. So thank you, Mark and Jerry. All right, so thank you so much to John. Thank you, John, for sharing the live stream on social media or on Gab. And let's see. That's it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, John. All right, folks. So I really want to give shout outs, but nobody's sharing the live stream on social media. Normally I give shout outs and stuff like that, but right now nobody. I'm looking on gab.ai, I'm looking on Twitter, and the ones that I already gave a thank you to the ones that shared the live stream on Twitter and Gab. Other than that, there's nobody, folks. So it should start soon. Thank you so much for tuning in. Wow, this is pretty awesome. I just something came by right now, and it's pretty interesting. So I don't know if anybody knows on YouTube's. Oh, here we go. Here's the president.
Hello, Pennsylvania. Hello, Pennsylvania. Great people, incredible people. And I'm thrilled to be here tonight in Erie, Pennsylvania, with thousands of loyal, hardworking, and beautiful American patriots. That's what you are. Before we begin, I want to send our thoughts and prayers of our entire nation to everyone in the path of Hurricane Michael, especially in the Florida Panhandle where it's hitting and hitting hard. It's a big one of the biggest we've ever seen. All of Pennsylvania, all of America sends its unwavering love and support. My administration is working closely with Florida Governor Rick Scott and the governors of North Carolina, South Carolina, Alabama, Georgia, in the Florida Panhandle, where it's hitting and hitting hard. It's a big one of the biggest we've ever seen. All of Pennsylvania, all of America sends its unwavering love and support. My administration is working closely with Florida Governor Rick Scott and the governors of North Carolina, South Carolina, Alabama, Georgia, anybody else affected, to provide the full resources and steadfast support of our federal government. We're all set to go. We're going to follow it right in. We have massive amounts of water and food, and we have the electric companies, thousands and thousands of electrical workers. They're going to follow it as it leaves. We're going to follow right behind. Tough situation. Everyone's working in close coordination with local officials, and I'll be traveling to Florida very, very shortly. So we just want to wish them all the best, and Godspeed. Godspeed. God bless you all. It's a bad one. And you know, and I speak because so many of my friends are here with us in Pennsylvania, we will spare no effort, no expense, no resource to help these great fellow citizens of ours that are going through a tough time right now. We know when Americans face hardship, we support each other, we stand with each other, we care for each other, and we will always pull through. It will be successful. We will always be successful at what we do. Florida, Georgia, Alabama, North Carolina, South Carolina, again, 2 weeks ago. And now they're going to get a lot more water coming in. That's what they don't need, is water right now. These are great people. Tonight we are going to discuss the extraordinary achievements we've made for our fellow citizens in less than 2 years' time. You know, it's been less than 2 years. All those beautiful red hats, make America great again. And we will discuss the next steps we must take to protect this amazing progress and to continue building an even greater future for all Americans. It's what's happening. You look at what's going on, it's been incredible. I said the other night, and you know that these folks will dispute us if we're wrong. But this has been the greatest revolution ever to take place in our country. Here we are. Here we are. The greatest ever. I remember during the primaries and prior to the election, they were saying, wow, this is something, there's been nothing like this since Ronald Reagan. Then it kept going and going and going, and then we actually won. In Tennessee, I remember a great Congressman, Duncan, he said, sir, early voting, he said, sir, they're coming from the hills, the valleys, people that haven't voted for a long time because they didn't want to vote for the people that were running for office, and they've got Trump banners and Trump hats and Trump tattoos. I'd never seen anything like it. It's all about you. And he was right. And then after that, they said, well, we have to go back further than Ronald Reagan. So they talked about Andrew Jackson. I said, let's see, the 1830s, that's a long time. And then they said on election night that this superseded even Andrew Jackson. So you won it, it's yours, and we're doing well. We're doing well. We are producing and doing even better than we said we would. It's been amazing. This election is about your families, your values, and what kind of country you want to leave for your children. This election is about keeping America safe, keeping America strong, keeping America proud, keeping America free. And this has been a historic week for our nation, and you know what I'm talking about. You know, all my life I've heard that a president's most important decision is who he or she picks for the United States Supreme Court. And as you know, on Monday night, we proudly swore in the newest member of the United States Supreme Court, Justice Brett Kavanaugh. Justice Kavanaugh now sits alongside Justice Gorsuch to defend your rights, your Constitution, and your God-given freedom. Two great men. They will go down as great, great justices of the Supreme Court. You watch. What the radical Democrats did to Brett Kavanaugh and his beautiful family is a national disgrace. It's a disgrace. What they did was a disgrace. You look at Cory Booker, the way he talked, and then you look at what he did. You look at Senator Dianne Feinstein, what she did. The disgraceful behavior, the disgraceful leaking of documents. You look at what they did. You look at the false charges. You look at the false accusations. It was a disgrace. It was a disgrace. And people were saying, thank you, sir, for sticking, and thank you for not giving up. You know what? I never even thought of it, folks. I never even thought of it. Never even thought of it. But on November 6th, you can vote to reject the Democrats' shameful conduct by electing Republican House. And really, we need it badly. We need these votes, a Republican Senate. Under Republican leadership, America is booming, America is thriving, and America is winning like never before because we are finally putting America first. Just 2 days ago, the unemployment rate has fallen to the lowest level in 50 years. It was just announced that manufacturing confidence is at an all-time high, historic. Big thing confidence. You remember the previous administration, they said, oh, you can't bring back manufacturing jobs? Really? You can't bring back. That was wrong. Remember they said you'd need a magic wand. Well, I guess we have, right? We have a magic wand. And those are our great jobs. And we are unleashing the power of Pennsylvania shale and clean, beautiful Pennsylvania coal. Beautiful, beautiful, clean coal. We are putting our miners back to work. we are putting our steel workers back to work. And by the way, I don't know how many people are in the steel industry, but one of the hottest industries, and this was dying, the steel industry was dead and dying. One of the hottest industries right now in our country is American steel. U.S. Steel is opening and expanding 7 different plants and spending a tremendous billions of dollars doing it. And what does it mean for you? Jobs, very simple. What does it mean for our country? What does it mean for our country? We can't lose the steel industry. The steel industry was on its last legs, and now, after 4 months of really intensely doing what I do, it's thriving. It is thriving. It's amazing, actually. It's amazing. You gotta have steel, you know. You need steel for defense, you gotta have steel. Supposing you don't have steel, and we do have a problem, defense-wise. You gonna call China, please send us some steel? And aluminum is doing great again. These are things we have to have. But beyond that, it's tremendous numbers of jobs already taking place. The head of U.S. Steel said he's never seen anything like it. And what did we do? We essentially stopped the dumping. They were dumping garbage all over our country. It wasn't even good. It was sand steel. It was rotted steel. It was garbage. They're dumping it all over our country. So now we can take our own metallurgic ore out of our own mines, that we can bring it here and to other places, that we can actually have our industry. We don't need this product coming in untested from other countries. We don't need it, folks. We've got it here. We don't need it. And you watch what's going to happen with jobs, and you watch what's going to happen with price. Very proud of that industry. After years of rebuilding other nations, we are finally rebuilding our nation. But if Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats take over Congress, they will try to raise your taxes. We've lowered them tremendously. Impose socialism, which is where they're coming from, and take over and destroy American health care. And you see how well we're doing with health care. You see it. Democrats want to abolish America's borders and allow drugs and gangs to pour into our country unabated. And I say this and I mean this. The Democrats are the party of crime. That's what's happening. They are the party of crime. Republicans are the party of law, order, and justice. And we are also the party of jobs, jobs, jobs. You see that? We're thrilled to be joined tonight by several really terrific friends of mine, Pennsylvania Republicans, including a man that's helped me so much in Washington, like tax cuts, like regulation cuts, like many other things, Congressman G.T. Thompson. A man who's really doing well, if you believe in polls. I believe in polls. Only the ones that have us up, because they're the only honest ones. Other than that, they're the fake news polls. Fake news. Fake news. You know, they take these polls, they show them, I say, that can't be right. what they want to do is keep you out of the voting booth. Take your wife, take your husband, go to a movie, come back, watch the results. You say, you know, I love so-and-so, but the polls say he can't win. Darling, let's go to a movie tonight. We'll go home and we'll watch. And that's what happens. They talk you out of it. They're dishonest, just like their reporting is dishonest, their polls are dishonest. Not all of them. Not all of them. No, not all of them, but many of them, and I saw it. I saw it. And yet there were some that got us very right on that great, great evening. Was that the most exciting evening of our lives? Remember we won Florida? And remember John King, nice guy at CNN. Fake news, CNN. Remember, early, it was early. We won by a lot, won Florida by a lot. Remember? The red, right? The red, beautiful red. I never liked red so much. Against the blue, I didn't like blue. And the whole map is like red. And he's going crazy. But early, Donald Trump has won the state of Florida. Oh my God. Donald Trump has won the state of Florida. Oh, that was upsetting to them. Remember when they said that Texas would be long? It would be a long call, go late into the night, because they said it's just going to be too close to call. So the polls closed at 8 o'clock. And they never call them early unless you win by a landslide, right? So the polls have closed in the state of Texas. Donald Trump has won the state of Texas, right? So what's that all about? Utah. Remember, it was so close, Utah. They had a guy that I never saw before. I don't know this guy. Do you know who I'm talking about? And they had Crooked Hillary, the three of us. And this guy was supposed to come in second, but it's going to be very close. Maybe I could edge, but this guy was going to come either first or second, and Crooked Hillary was supposed to be third. So the Utah, great people, we just gave over millions of acres of great space, public space to Utah. So what happens? What happens? So they say, oh, for weeks I'm hearing how close Utah is. So the polls close at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock and 3 seconds, Donald Trump has won the state of Utah. We won it by. And on top of that, this guy came in third. He didn't even come in second. Crooked Hillary came in second. A long ways away. Long ways away. Remember? Anyway, but was that the most exciting night? Was that the greatest? Well, if you look at it, when you think of it, there was collusion between Hillary, the Democrats, and Russia. There was collusion. There's no question about it. There was a lot of collusion with them and Russia, and lots of other people, by the way. But so you remember, so we win Florida. Then we had to win the Electoral College is very tough. The other's easier. You go to 3 or 4 states and you work and you do it. But to win, you got to be smart. You're right. You got to be smart. Got to be smart. And you have to have great support. This is our support. But you got to run the whole East Coast. If you're a Republican, it's very, very hard. Electoral college is much harder than anything. Remember, they said there is no path. I heard this so many times. I said to my wife, "Oh, our first lady, how's she doing? Good." So I said to Melania, I said, I've heard there is no path. There is no path to 270, right? How many times have you heard that? Thousands? I've been hearing it for months. There is no path. And I kept going. I love the state. I kept going to Maine for one, because they had me at maybe, if I have a great night, 269. Of course, they could never say I could get 270. So I kept going to Maine 5 times. because I wanted to get one, and I ended up getting the one in Maine. But I also got Michigan and Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. Remember that? And what angered me, because I love this state. And I went to school in this state, right? I went to school in this. I love Pennsylvania. I went to school in this state. Great place, great people. What angered me is Pennsylvania hasn't been won for many years by Republicans. But every Republican thinks they're going to win Pennsylvania. They didn't quite get it, but I got it. It's called the workers. I got it. Every Republican, I'd use an expression. You know, there's an expression, but under the rules of Me Too, I'm not allowed to use that expression anymore. I can't do it. It's the person that got away. See, in the old days, it was a little different. Pennsylvania, he says do it anyway. I would do it, except for these people up there. They would say, did you hear what President Trump said? Did you hear what he said? So there is an expression, but we'll change the expression. Pennsylvania was always the person that got away. That's pretty good, right? The person that got away. And for many years, no Republican won Pennsylvania. But they always thought they were going to. Pennsylvania, great. And then they lost it by a lot. I said, I know we're going to win Pennsylvania, but all night long, they had 1 point. But if I lost every single vote in Pennsylvania, I was 99% of the vote cast. And I said, will you please project Pennsylvania? Let Pennsylvania be the state where I win this election. I was winning North Carolina, South Carolina. We won Florida. We would do it. We were running the East Coast. And I kept saying, why aren't they? And ask them. Why aren't they announcing Pennsylvania? 1 point left. 99% of the vote cast, right? 99% of the vote cast. 1 point left. If I lost every single vote, I won Pennsylvania by a lot. I kept saying, why aren't they announcing Pennsylvania? I thought it must be some kind of a technical malfunction. So they didn't do it until late in the evening. It stayed forever. I kept going, why aren't they announcing? I'd love to win with Pennsylvania. But honestly, then what happened? Out of the blue, Donald Trump has won the state of Wisconsin. And then out of the blue, first time in decades, Donald Trump has won the state of Michigan. And then finally they announced, late in the morning, which we knew they just couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. They just couldn't do it. Donald Trump has won the great state of Pennsylvania. They didn't do it that way. They didn't do it. They didn't do it that way. They did it with tears flowing down their face. This can't be happening. Can this be? Do you see some of them crying? And we were all crying too out of happiness, right? Because there has never been anything like what we all did, okay? We did it together. And now we're doing great trade deals. We're fixing our military. We're taking care of our vets. We are doing so much. We're cutting regulations. So you have a congressional candidate running, taking the place of a fantastic person. You know who that is. But you have a man named John Joyce who's running, and he's way up in the polls. But don't let that fool you. Get out and vote. Get out and vote. John Joyce. Where's John? Thank you, John. State Senators Dan Laughlin and Michelle Brooks, and your next governor of the state of Pennsylvania. I'll tell you, this guy is working hard, folks. He said he did 631 events. I said, that's a lot. I'll tell you, he's a really good man, and he's a hard worker, and I know it's a tough race, but based on competence, based on everything. Very successful guy, successful businessman, which we like. Scott Wagner. Scott. And maybe the best thing I can say about Scott Wagner is that Judge Janine thinks he's fantastic, okay? That might be the greatest endorsement, and you have my full endorsement. That might be the greatest endorsement I can give you, Scott. Judge Janine. I'm especially thrilled to introduce a terrific Pennsylvania congressman. He's been a friend of mine for a long time, long before I did this whole political thing. A congressman came up to me the other day, said, "Sir, I've been winning for many years, and I'm a proud congressman. I've won many races, 10 to be exact. I've only lost 3. I said, "You lost 3? "Yes, a long time ago when I was young. And I'm very proud. I'm a real professional." I said, "You know, I never thought of it that way, but I've only ran 1 time, 1 race. It was for the presidency, and we won the presidency, right? We won the presidency." Now, I had to do it, because he was bragging about his political career. This wasn't Mike Kelly, by the way. Somebody else. And I had to do it. I said, "I never thought of it that way, but I ran 1 time, and we won." Okay. And it's also the presidency, right? So, you know. But a man that's been a friend of mine for a long time, he's a tremendous man, and his name is Congressman Mike Kelly. He loves you people. And just like your other congressman and John Joyce, just like your other congressman, Mike is strong on crime, tough as hell on borders, powerful on trade, and he is really great on jobs. You see what he's doing. Mike was leading the fight, along with JT and the others, in Congress to cut your taxes, which we did at a level that they haven't seen before, cut regulations, and to protect American workers and American steelworkers. We're going to dredge the channel to Lake Erie, and we're going to replenish the sand to Presque Isle. Do you know what Presque Isle is? Presque Isle. They've been talking about that for a long time. Mike keeps calling, "Sir, we want to fix up Presque Isle." I said, "Mike, what the hell is Presque Isle?" He said, "Sir, it's a beautiful beach." I had a picture sent to me. There's no sand. That's what he wants. He wants sand. And we're going to get him the sand, okay? We're going to get him the sand. So, he's a great guy. You got to go vote for him. Let me just invite, just for a couple of seconds, Mike, please, come on up.
Oh, okay. You know what? Listen, President Trump and I have so much in common. First of all, he loves Pennsylvania. And he made a commitment tonight. He said, "What can we do to make it even better in Erie than it is now? What can we do to take the greatest of the Great Lakes and make it better?" I said, "Mr. President, we need to get sand replenishment." He said, "How much do you need?" I said, "I'm not sure." He said, "Let me know. You're going to get that sand." Yeah, and then he said, "So what else? What else?" I said, "You know what? We need to get some dredging done in the channel so that we don't have to light load anymore and our ships can come in and out and get out to the world and bring goods in at a much cheaper price." And he said, you know what, we're going to do that too. And then I said to the president, you know what, Mr. President, you and I have a lot more in common than probably most people understand. And he goes, what would that be? I said, well, sir, we both married up. We both married up. So this beautiful girl standing beside me tonight, mother of 4, grandmother of 10, and 5 of them are over there right now with my son George, retired Army captain, and they're here because they love this president. Look, you know that in 2016, candidate Donald Trump came here to this same arena to a crowd that was almost as big as this. My God, we got thousands of people outside that just want to get in. There's just not enough room for all the love. The president, as a candidate, said, this will not be my first trip to Erie, Pennsylvania. This will not be my first time to stand on the shores of the Great Lake Erie. He said, I will be back. But you know what he also did? He made promises to us in 2016. And people said, no. There's no way he can do that. There's no way we can get there. My gosh, we just spent 8 years of somebody telling us in the White House that America's best days have left her. And you foolish people, you Americans actually still seem to think that you're exceptional. You are not exceptional. I want to tell you something. Promises made, promises kept. The strongest personality, the strongest president we have seen in our lifetime. USA, 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 USA. Listen, I got to tell you, the last 21 months of my life, I have seen something happen in America that I had never seen before. I have seen the resurrection of the greatest nation the world has ever known. It knows no boundaries. It doesn't differentiate because of the color of your skin, the shape of your eye, what your gender is, where you worship. Every single America and in every single way, every single day is stronger because of this man. You are the best. You are the best. Now, let me let you in on a little secret. You know, all of us deplorables are here tonight. Yeah, we're all here. But you know, there's another group out there that says, you know what? We've got to win these midterms. We've got to knock this president off his perch. We've got to knock America down a notch or two. Well, I got to tell you, the president said we're going to win, and we're going to keep on winning, and you're going to get tired of winning. I'll tell you, in Erie, Pennsylvania, we never get tired of winning. That's who we are. I'm going to ask you all to do one thing tonight. As you look at this gentleman who left a life that was so comfortable, who left a life that was so luxurious, to be torn apart every day, to have our First Lady attacked every day, to have the First Family attacked every day. That is not who we are. Now, you know how you're going to change that? You're going to take the enthusiasm you have tonight. You're going to take the love that you have in your heart for the greatest country and the greatest nation in the history of mankind, and you're going to get out and vote. You're going to show up in numbers that nobody ever thought would turn out. Now listen, there's an old saying. You've got to play it through the whistle, right? You got to play it through the whistle. You know what this man's saying is? You got to play it through the echo of the whistle. Listen, I am so grateful and so thankful that an American citizen came out of nowhere to take the reins and reform and recommit this country to the greatest nation the world has ever known. I gotta tell you, I'm with you. We're all together. Let's go win. Let's go win. Let's go win.
What do you think of that, folks? And truly, look, he's in good shape. You see that. How would you like to be his opponent? But still, you never know. A vote for Mike is a vote to make America great again. It's very simple. I want to introduce another congressman who has been a friend of mine also for a long time. And he had a very sad day yesterday. He lost his brother. He lost his brother. And he loved his brother like crazy. I said, how close? He said, the closest. A very, very strange, horrible thing happened. And he doesn't want to talk about it. But I will tell you, it's a hard thing for him. And he loves his state. He loves the people. He's been an incredible congressman. He was a politician at various things. He went on to become a great congressman. He is so respected in Washington. And the only bad thing when he said he's going to do this at my suggestion, I said, Lou, I'm telling you can win. And he said, well, if you think it's important, it was really at my suggestion. In other words, I got him into this. Could have been for the rest of his life, he could have been a congressman. But he's a special man. He's a total winner. And he had a rough time the last few days. And something else happened on top of that. But I'm honored to introduce the next United States Senator from the state of Pennsylvania, my good friend, Lou Barletta.
Thank you very much. You know, Mr. President, I know how much you love Pennsylvania. This is like the 9th or 10th time that you've been here, and each time that you come, the list of promises made, promises kept gets longer and longer. And that's okay with us because now you're overseeing the greatest economy in American history right now. This economy is soaring. GDP last month was 4.2%, unemployment 3.7%. 4 million new jobs were created. And this is the stat I love the most. 4 million Americans came off of food stamps. 4 million Americans came off of food stamps. Black unemployment at an all-time low. Hispanic unemployment at an all-time low. Women's unemployment at a 64-year low. There are more jobs than people who are unemployed, and I'll tell you how good the economy is. This economy is so good that even Colin Kaepernick found a job. Now, who would want to stop that? Who would want to stop what's happening to the American people right now? I'll tell you who wants to stop it. Bob Casey wants to stop it. Senator Bob Casey went to Washington and he forgot about Pennsylvania. In Washington, it's no surprise, he became one of the most liberal senators in Washington. He no longer represents Pennsylvania values. I'll tell you how radical he has become. He is so radical that he said he will vote no matter who the president nominates for the next Supreme Court pick. No matter who. Now, he started this craziness by saying he'd be the first senator to vote no matter what. If you don't like the way that Justice Kavanaugh has been treated, then you can't reward Bob Casey by sending him back to Washington ever again. Listen, it's pretty clear. It's pretty clear why I'm running for Senate. I'm running for the Senate because the president did call, and he said, I need you in the Senate. I'm running there because I want to help him, because we want to show respect for our law force in America once again. We want to take care of our veterans. No veteran should ever and will ever die waiting in line for health care in this country ever again. And we're going to support our military, those men and women who travel all over this world to make sure that we have the freedoms that we have and enjoy today, and that our children and grandchildren will have that same freedom. We're going to take care of our seniors. We're going to protect the unborn. We're going to put an end to illegal immigration. We're going to build the wall. We're going to build the wall. And we are going to kneel when we pray and stand for the flag. No, Mr. President. No, Mr. President, we're not tired of winning in Pennsylvania. We're going to win again in November. Thank you. God bless you. And God bless the United States. Thank you.
That's great, Lou. Thank you very much. He's a great man. He'll be a fantastic representative for you in Washington, D.C. Got to get out and vote. So while Lou is fighting for you, Bob Casey is fighting to protect violent criminal aliens. That's what he's doing. Bob Casey voted in favor of deadly sanctuary cities that release thousands upon thousands of illegal alien criminals and vicious gang members to prey on Pennsylvania streets, to prey all over this country. No good. No good. For example, the sanctuary city of Philadelphia. Can you believe this? Can you believe that one? That one I didn't expect to be hearing. Released a criminal alien who was recently convicted of raping and battering a very young child. Bob Casey defends criminals while attacking our brave ICE agents. He wants to get rid of ICE. Let me tell you about ICE. These are tough, brave people that love our country. These are people that MS-13, they're afraid of ICE. They don't like seeing ICE. And if we don't have ICE, you'll pay a big price. These are great people. These are great people. Lou Barletta and the Republican Party will always stand for the heroes of ICE, Border Patrol, and our great, great law enforcement. These are great people. Bob Casey even voted against Kate's Law, named for Kate Steinle, who was gunned down by a 5-time deported illegal alien, should have never been in our country. Bob Casey puts criminal aliens before American citizens, always has. By the way, how do you have such a liberal guy in the state of Pennsylvania? I'm trying to figure that out. Oh. He's banking on the name of his father. That's no good. Which is why he needs to be voted out of office. He has to be voted out of office. Casey also voted against tax cuts, against Pennsylvania coal. He joined the left-wing mob by voting against Brett Kavanaugh. If you want to save American lives and save American jobs and keep things going like they're going now, which is better economically than any time in the history of our country, then you need to vote for a pro-American patriot. And he really is a patriot. He loves his country. Named Lou Barletta. Get out and vote, please. Get out and vote. Also at stake in this election is Medicare. Democrats support a socialist takeover of health care that would totally obliterate Medicare. Republicans want to protect Medicare for our great seniors who have earned it and who have paid for it all their lives. And we will always protect Americans with pre-existing conditions. We're going to protect people that need help, people with pre-existing conditions. If you want security for your family, for yourself, if you want to continue our great economic boom like we've never seen before, but it's all very fragile. It can end. They want to end it. Then you must go out and vote Republican. We need those votes in D.C. Since the election, as Lewis said, we've created over 4.2 million new jobs and lifted over 4 million people off of food stamps. We've added almost 600,000 new manufacturing jobs. They were supposed to be gone forever. African American unemployment has reached its lowest level in history. History. That's in history. Think of that. In history, it's got its best level on unemployment. Think of that. African American poverty has reached its lowest rate ever recorded in poverty. Hispanic American and Asian American unemployment has also reached historic lows, lowest in history. And as I always say, I'm sure you've heard it, I hate to say it again because I know the number's going to be changing very soon. It's going to be even better. Women's unemployment has just fallen to 3.6%, which is only the lowest rate in 65 years. I'm sorry. I keep saying it. I keep waiting for that number. I'm sorry. I'd like to apologize to the women, please. 65 years, best in 65 years. I keep waiting for the new number to come out because that will be history too, just like African American, Asian American, Hispanic American. Women, it's only the best number in 65 years. I'd like to apologize. But it's going to change. Women for Trump. Women for Trump. Remember how badly I was going to do with women? I said, am I so bad? Remember how badly? And then I got 52% of the vote. And everybody said he beat Crooked Hillary. What happened? What happened? Remember that? Remember they put up these phony numbers? But you remember that? We did very well. Thank you to the women. We did very well. She never got it. The truth is she never got it. And she still doesn't get it. She's going around on her tour. Did you know this? Did you know that? I said, you should have saved it for the election. After years of being let down by Washington politicians, you now have a champion fighting for you in the White House But I need your help this election day, November 6th, to stop the radical Democrat mob from trying to take it away. They're going to try and take it away. They're going to try and take it away. I need you to show up at the polls to continue this incredible movement like the country has never seen before. Like probably very few countries, frankly, have ever seen before. The only reason to vote Democrat is if you are tired of winning. Then you should vote Democrat. For many years, our country was being pillaged and plundered by unfair trade deals. Pennsylvania lost 1 in 3 manufacturing jobs. You know it well. I spent lots of time with you folks up here. You know it well. Following the twin disasters of NAFTA and China's entrance, pushed by us, into the WTO, World Trade Organization, perhaps the only deal worse than NAFTA. We got them both. They were both beauties, weren't they? But the era of economic surrender is over. America is not being taken advantage of anymore. Sorry. America is respected again. America is respected again. Last week, I announced that we are replacing NAFTA with an incredible brand new U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement called USMCA. I didn't want to use the word NAFTA. To create jobs and boost incomes, Republicans passed the biggest package of tax cuts and reforms in American history. We've taken historic action to reduce the price of prescription drugs. Did you see 4 weeks ago when Pfizer and Novartis and other drug companies raised the prices of their drugs very, very substantially? And I didn't like it, and I called them. I said, can't do that. Can't do that. And the first time, and I give them credit, and I really thank them too, honestly. But first time in history, they rescinded their price increase and they kept it the same, and they promised no increase for substantial time. But we're going to get them down. And when I called them up and they agreed to immediately rescind, perhaps that's the first time I realized how powerful it is to be the President of the United States. That was pretty good. But I give them a lot of credit and I appreciate it. We're going to get the prescription prices down, though. We just signed new legislation today, and there's more coming because you are being ripped off. You know, for the same pill, for the same drug, for the same company that makes it, the same package, you go to other countries and you'll pay half and you'll pay less than half. It's a rigged system. You remember what else I called rigged? I call plenty of things in this country rigged, but we're straightening it out. But it was a rigged system. Plenty of things rigged. And to help critically ill patients access life-saving treatments, we passed something called Right to Try. People that are terminally ill were given no chance, no hope. We have incredible drugs in the pipeline that can cure really horrible, horrific disease. We wouldn't let anyone use these drugs because they didn't want to hurt them, but they're going to die. They're terminally ill. I said, what are we doing? And 2 months ago, I signed Right to Try. Somebody's terminally ill, we can try. And we've had great success. We've had great success. And by the way, in all fairness, you also find out whether or not it works. Not so bad. Right to Try. You know what it did? These people, if they had money, they'd travel all over the world looking for a cure. If they didn't have money, they'd go home. There was nothing, they had no hope. They had no hope. Now they have great hope. We make the greatest products in the world. We make the greatest medicine in the world. They have hope. And some incredible things have already happened with Right to Try. They've been trying to pass it for 40 years. We got it passed. And that's because of your congressman. That's because of your congressman that are with us tonight. We also passed Veterans' Choice, giving our veterans the right to see a private doctor. Right? Our veterans. 44 years they tried to pass it. When I first heard about it, I mean, it's not like I was studying it for my whole life, but I heard about it 3.5 years ago. I said, hey, I have an idea. Let's, when they wait online for 10 days, 22 days, 38 days, you have to see months and months. Why don't we let them go see a private doctor and we pay the bill? It'll solve a problem. And I told everybody I am the most brilliant guy in the world. Who else would think? Who else would think of that? So I go back to my people. I said, listen, I have this great idea. We can't get these great vets to see the doctors. It's taken like 10 days was good. But some of them were ill, but not terribly ill. It took them so long they would literally become terminally ill. It took them weeks and weeks to see a doctor. So I went to my people and I said, what an idea this is. They said, actually, sir, we've been trying to get that idea passed for 44 years. I'm good at getting things passed. We signed it 3 months ago for our vets. And the landmark VA accountability law to ensure anyone who mistreats our great veterans can be held accountable. In other words, they're immediately fired. Not easy to get passed. They've been trying that one for about 46 years. We got that one passed too. You think that was easy getting that by, I know you have a lot of union guys here, but you think that was easy getting that by the unions? Do you think that was easy getting that passed by civil service? Not too easy. We got it passed. Somebody does something bad to our veterans, we fire them on the spot. And we secured $716 billion to fully rebuild the American military, and we gave our great warriors their largest pay raise in almost a decade. At my direction, the Pentagon is now working to create the 6th branch of the American Armed Forces, the Space Force. Very important. It's where it's at. That's where it's going. We want to always be the best. I withdrew the United States from the horrible one-sided Iran nuclear deal. And I've recognized the capital of Israel and opened the American embassy in Jerusalem. Many, many presidents talked about they were going to do it, and they never had whatever it takes to do it. And I understand why, because there was a lot of pressure on that one. There were a lot of forces saying, don't do it. I say, excuse me, get lost. But we did it. For years, you watched as your leaders apologized for America. Now you have a president who is standing up for America. We are standing up for your values. We are standing up for Pennsylvania. We are standing proudly for our national anthem. About time. I need you to get your friends, get your families, get your neighbors, get your co-workers, and get out and vote Republican, vote for Lou, vote for Mike, vote for all of these great people here. A vote for a Republican Congress is a vote for lower taxes, less regulation, and more products made right here in the USA. It's a vote to respect our borders, respect our Constitution, and respect the heroes of law enforcement. And a vote for Republicans is a vote for safety, opportunity, prosperity, and justice. It is not up to the media or the pundits to decide your fate. It is up to you. It is up to the people of Pennsylvania. It is up to the people of our country. You have the power with your vote to defend your family, your country, your values, your faith, and indeed to defend your dignity. Loyal citizens like you helped to build this country. And together we are taking back our country, returning power back to the American people where it belongs. Pennsylvania is the state that rang the Liberty Bell, forged the railroads, and put steel into the spine of our country. Generations of Pennsylvania workers manned the furnaces, farmed the fields, and fought the battles that made America into the most powerful and prosperous nation in the history of the world. Unfortunately, years ago, they lost their way, but we have gotten that way back. These courageous Pennsylvania patriots did not shed their blood, sweat, and tears so that we could sit at home while others tried to erase their legacy and destroy our great and proud American heritage. For the sake of freedom, for the sake of our children, we are going to work, we are going to fight, and we are going to win, win, win. We will not bend. We will not break. We will never give in. We will never give up. We will never back down. And we will never surrender. And we will always fight on to victory. Because we are American, and our hearts bleed red, white, and blue. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. And always remember, together we will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you, Pennsylvania. Thank you.
All right, folks, thank you very much for joining us and choosing us as your stream of choice. President Donald Trump at his rally in Erie, Pennsylvania. Don't forget that there's going to be 2 more rallies coming up this week, folks. There's going to be one on the 12th and the 13th, which is Friday, Saturday. So make sure you guys stay tuned live here at Golden State Times, and you guys subscribe to the channel if you're new, and you click the notification bell. That way you get a heads up when we go live. I'd like to give a quick thank you to Ponyboy Curtis. Thank you so much for your support on Super Chat. All of those supports on Super Chat and on PayPal, all of those help us get to the next Trump rally. So if you guys would like to help out Golden State Times, you can do so by clicking the link in the description. That's our link to our PayPal. And you guys can contribute there. And then that way you guys help us get to the next Trump rally. You can also do it through Super Chat if you prefer it that way. And thank you so much in advance. Thank you so much also to the moderators for keeping the chat clean and enjoyable for everyone. Thank you so much for all of the hard work that you do. And everyone that shared the live stream on Twitter and Facebook and Gab and stuff like that. Thank you so much for helping us share the live stream. We hope that you guys join us next time. My name is Jen. I'm from Golden State Times. One of the big things that is going to happen tomorrow is that President Trump is going to have lunch with Kanye West. And if you guys don't think that's a big deal, I have news for you folks. There's a lot of people that are starting to come out, both here on YouTube, that are African American, and people in the mainstream that are saying, you know what, this is starting to open up my eyes. This is starting to really change the way I think. And a lot of people are starting to walk away. It's crazy, folks, what's happening right now. A lot of people that registered to vote are now changing the registration, and either they're going independent or they're switching over to the Republican Party in droves. It's happening, folks. It's happening. Trust me, it's going to be historic. It's going to be gigantic. November 6th, and this is just in less than a month, folks. In November 6th, it's going to be historic. So stay tuned for that. All right, folks. So like I said, President Trump is having 2 rallies, one Friday, one Saturday. So make sure you guys stay tuned live here at Golden State Times. My name is Jen. I'm from Golden State Times. I'm the host of the stream, and I'll see you soon. Peace.